Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, thanks for joining me. I wanted to sit down and talk about my experience this past week, finally posting reels every day, what it was like to grow, and how I did it. So I've had a lot of questions about materials and my process and everything, so I figured I'd share that as well. So I had been posting somewhat consistently on Instagram, just sharing stuff I've been working on. And I have been trying to grow. And so posting consistently, but that doesn't, what does that really mean? Basically, I mean, you can post every day, but it doesn't always work. So over this week, I decided to make a reel every day, which in theory would get me more reach. And do it consistently, and I would use this as a week to kind of test what I was doing, see what worked, what didn't, and yeah, like when to post. So I did this. I did it by doing magic altars, which I had been kind of messing around with. I posted the ones I did before this, and so this was a lot for me to just practice altering cards. And so I did it with Adventure Time, which is a series that it means a lot to me because it has had like a big impact on my style, my personal style, and it's just had a very big influence on my art in general. And so I thought it'd be fun to do that, and it's simple. It's a pretty simple style. So I knew I wouldn't get too overwhelmed trying to make Adventure Time themed cards. So I did this, one, to test out posting and everything, and two, to practice my altars. And so I would say that went pretty well. I actually managed to post every day during the week, and towards the end, I started seeing a lot of growth. My goal was 200 followers on Instagram, 100 followers on TikTok, and 100 subscribers here on YouTube. And I was about 20 away on each platform, and that got blown out of the water. I mean, I think I am about to hit 200 on TikTok when I was shooting for 100 at the beginning of this week. And I've got about 115 of you guys here, and about 300 on Instagram, I think. So just a lot of support. A lot of people have seen my videos. And so what I've learned from that is, the video that did the best on Instagram had sort of more of a hook. I started it with me like screaming and waving a card at the camera. And the rest of them didn't do great. And then the other one that did okay was me starting out by saying people didn't like another video. And so that kind of helped grab interest. And what I've noticed on TikTok and YouTube is that hook is important, but it's not as important to these platforms, at least in my experience. I see stuff all the time saying, you need this, whatever, to grow and gain followers and whatever. And really, like, a lot of this is helpful and important, but at the same time, it's like at some point you just have to post what you want to post and find your own thing. And I think that's why I'm so drawn to YouTube, is because YouTube is, it's more my pace. It's what I want to be making. So like me sitting here and talking to the camera, I could never post anything like this on any of the short form formats because like, it just wouldn't do well. Like nobody wants to sit and watch that, but YouTube viewers are different. They are more dedicated. If you're subscribing to somebody on YouTube, it's most likely because you want to stick around and watch their 10+ minute videos. And so I feel more connected doing this, and it feels more personal rather than just checking off all the boxes to make a successful video and then move on with the next thing, And so I prefer this. But yeah, so people will tell you how you're supposed to grow. I can tell you how I am growing at the moment, but at the end of the day, it's just, find what works for you. And so I have found this is what works for me. So doing these Adventure Time magic altars, it's, I found that niche that everybody talks about. I've got Adventure Time fans, I've got Magic fans, and I've got fans of both. And so the Magic fans are the ones that are suggesting cards that I should paint, just because they're like playable and whatever. And they're the ones asking for commissions, which is awesome. And it's something I've been really pushing for. And the Adventure Time fans are the ones giving me the great ideas for, what I should put on the cards. And so it's cool to see like the way that these two communities kind of overlap. But yeah, so I'm excited to keep doing more. I want to do other franchises. Like I want to do some Demon Slayer stuff, mainly, but I don't know yet. And I want to do like my own characters on something, but the only commander deck I play with is all Avatar themed. So I don't really want to change that. I don't want to, like, I like that it's Avatar. I don't want to try to make it my own. Yeah. So moving forward, I think I'm going to keep posting altars. And then I'll post other things I'm working on, but I might not post reels about that. And then as I get a little bigger, then I can kind of branch out a little more and do like some videos of some of the other things I'm working on. But yeah, I think that is the way I want to go about this right now. And if you think I should do it a different way, let me know. I'm open to suggestions. But yeah, so now that I've gotten to talk about like how I was able to grow and everything, which I think is more a reflection for myself, rather than for the video. But it's cool to talk about it, and let you guys get to hear what I'm thinking. And so now that I've talked about that, I want to go over how I did it. So I've had comments, especially in the last few days, asking what I've used. And I've had some people message me directly, which I love. I love being able to share my process with people and help other people do the same thing. So start with your card. This is one that I just got commissioned to do, Arcane Signet. It's pretty common card. So you start with your card, and then I am using, this is what I've got on my desk, but I've got 100 different types of gesso. I mean, they're all the same thing. But this is just white gesso. And what I've found, and this is something I learned at school as well, is most gessos, when you get them, they're really thick. And it's nice to just like water them down. So you just add a little water, stir it in, and then keep doing that until it's like a lot like creamier instead of just like this thick paste. Which is really good because for these cards, which I don't know what the number is or what, but there's a certain thickness you can have the card and it still be legal to play. And I'm just assuming the ones I have made are legal for play based on what I've seen other people do. But this helps keep the layers thin. And so with the gesso being thinner, you can put on the layers, and you don't have to cover it. What I have found is that you don't have to cover it like completely in the gesso, just like enough layers to get the paint to stick. And so yeah, so start with the gesso. Any acrylic gesso works. I've also seen people just take an eraser to the card and just erase. I think also kind of roughens up the surface and kind of helps prime it for the paint. But I have not tried that personally. And so then the next thing is I go in, sometimes I sketch it. Some of them I didn't sketch. I just kind of laid down basic shapes. But then I go in with acrylic markers on most of them. So my favorite markers so far have been these Posca brush tips. I have a lot of Posca markers. I've got this bin right here full of markers. And I love them. I love the quality of the paint. I love the colors. But the brush tips, man, they are just so good. I mean, it's really easy to control how much paint you're getting. It's really easy to control the thickness of the lines, which like is kind of a big downside to to the bullet nibs, is you don't really get that. So the brush tips are the way to go. They're a little more expensive. I think I paid like, I got these at Michael's. I think they were like $50 for a 16 pack. It was like 45 to 50 for a 16 pack. And then Michael's runs all kind of discounts for like rewards members, which is free to sign up for. So, I got, after like 30% off one item, whatever, so it wasn't too bad. It is a little more of an investment. But I mean, they are totally worth it. The bullet nibs are a little cheaper. Like I said, they're not as easy to get, line thickness control. But Posca markers, way to go. And then I found these at Walmart. They're just basic acrylic markers. I think that's like Walmart brand in terms of art supplies. But I love these as well. I mean, it's a 1.2 millimeter tip, and these are really nice for small details, and they're just different colors than the brush tips I have. And these were like, it was like $10 for 12. But what I have seen is that, both for magic altars and then other art I've seen on social media, it doesn't seem like there's really a bad paint marker out there. They all kind of work a little differently, but I think most acrylic markers are pretty good. I could totally be wrong. I haven't tried a lot of brands, but I think anything you can get, like, there's like a like kind of a bar, like it's gonna be this good, and then like Posca's got better quality paint, and it just lays down a little different. Like, I think they all just kind of work a little differently. So you just got to figure out how that works. But I think there's a lot of good acrylic markers out there from what I've seen. And so if you don't get these two brands, like, I think having markers is just great. So what I do with the markers is I start by laying down the like big shapes and the big colors, especially if I have a marker that is close to that color. So I'll like go in, and with the markers, I found that one, you have to, like, especially with a bullet tip, you have to be really gentle with coloring. Like, you could barely be touching the paper and the paint will still come out and cover just as good as if you're pressing hard. So you have to be really gentle, or else you'll scratch off the gesso or whatever paint is under the marker that you're laying down. So you go in real lightly and just fill in the solid colors. I did that a lot with the BMO card I just did. But one thing I've found, let me see if I can get an example. But one thing I have found is that there are little specks, and it looks like it's just like dirt or something. But there's little specks in the paint whenever you're finished. Probably can't see that. See there. So like there's these just little bumps throughout the card. And I think I have figured out it's when you're using the paint marker, when you lift it up, it just like, there's just this little drop of paint that kind of lifts up with the marker. And so it's like that's happened on all of my cards. And after this one, I realized I think that's what it is. But I'm not 100% sure on that. So I guess just be careful with how you like pick up the cards. You don't want to make them too thick, because you have a couple little bumps throughout the card. And it just makes it look cleaner if you don't have that. But yeah, I mean, there's a couple throughout this card, and it's fine. I think it looks great still. But that is something to be aware of with the paint markers. And then after you go in with the paint markers, then I go in with just regular paint. I use Liquitex fluid acrylic. Fluid acrylic paints are like, this is the best paint I've ever used. I love the consistency. Before I started using this stuff, I was very like, I don't like to paint. I don't like painting, whatever. It's too out of my control, whatever. And this stuff changed the game. I about dropped this one. This stuff changed the game. It feels like you have a lot more control over the paint. It's really thin out the bottle, and then you can add a tiny bit of water to give it a little more consistency. I found out about this stuff from 1000. I talk about him a lot. But I found out from him, and so he has a lot of videos talking about kind of how to use the paint better and how to get that right consistency with the water and everything. But this stuff is really good paint. I use Liquitex because it's a good middle ground between the like really cheap stuff and golden, which I have a couple colors of golden paint. I think this bottle was like $80. So even the tiny ones that are like this big are like 10 a bottle, which is definitely worth it. I mean, it's a lot higher quality than the Liquitex, and it's noticeable, but this stuff is still really great. So if you can afford to use this stuff, by all means, like, you should use golden. I love it. It's great paint. But I personally do not want to pay for that. So I may try to get little bottles of just like the primary colors and slowly go from there. But the bottles I have are left over from the mural I did, which is the first video I posted on this channel. And so I worked that into my cost, and did not have to pay out of pocket for the expensive paint, but it made for a higher quality mural. Paint, fluid acrylic is definitely the way to go. The other big thing to this is, again, those thin layers. You know, you put down some thin layers. You don't need to expect to cover the card completely on the first layer. Like, you just want to take this stuff and slowly build it up throughout painting the card. You lay it on thin, and then because it's so thin and it's acrylic, it'll dry by the time you come back around to think about adding another layer, basically. And if not, you can hit it with a hairdryer like any other paint. But so do that, and then you just slowly add up those layers until you're ready to go. Okay, and then finally, as you can see on most of the cards, I have this black outline, which one just fits the Adventure Time style and my style, and two helps round out the card, make it look more finished. And so my favorite pens are these Micron pens. They're incredible. I've used these pens for, oh gosh, years. I mean, I've been using them since like freshman year of high school. So 5-6 years at least. And they're incredible. I've done a lot of big projects with these, and they come in, like this one is, I think 0.1 millimeter or 1 millimeter. I don't know. It just says 01 on here. I think it's 1 millimeter. But they come in all sorts of sizes. This one's half of that. And they're great. You can get them anywhere. You can get them at Walmart. They have more variety at like a craft store like Michael's or Hobby Lobby. But you can get some of your middle sizes at Walmart as well. And they're not too expensive. They're like $2 a pen, which I think is great. And so same thing with these as with the paint pens, is you just have to lay them on gentle. These are a little harder to get the ink to come out than the markers. But when you're doing your lines, you want to be really gentle with it and not peel up the paint that you're going over. But it ends up looking really nice. They're a little rougher on the ones I've done just because I'm using such a thin pen. But if you use a thicker pen, then usually in my experience, which is why I use such thick lines in a lot of my art, is because usually I can get cleaner lines with a thicker pen, but that's just me. But these are great. I'm sure there are other pens out there, but these are the ones I swear by, use them forever. And again, there's a lot of variety with them. And it helps round out the card, makes it look really, really good, really complete and finished. And yeah. And another thing, if you don't want to use black pens, they have other colors, but also the the Posca brush pens also work really well for doing your line art because you can get such a small point with these. So you got to be a little steadier with the hand. Just go real slow and very careful. But as you can see on this card, the smoke in the background has a gray stroke on it, gray outline, and that was done with this. So these are also really good for doing your line art. And then finally, I like to hit it with a layer of varnish, make sure the paint's not going to scratch off, give it kind of a nice finish, and really round out the whole card. And so this just helps protect the paint is the main thing. And I think it makes it look a little nicer, a little more professional. This is the can I've been using. Again, got it from Walmart. I'm sure there's higher quality varnish out there. From what I researched, it sounds like a lot of people like glossy rather than matte for altars. And so this is kind of glossy. It doesn't specifically say one or the other on here. But again, it was like $10 at Walmart. And yeah, or no, I don't think it was that much. I think it was like $5 at Walmart. So just cheap can of varnish. I just get some painter's tape or whatever that's not going to tear up the card, and tape it to a piece of cardboard, and then take it outside, shoot it with a couple layers of varnish just real fast, and yeah, you can dry it quicker with a hair dryer, which I do most of the time because I don't feel like waiting 2 hours. And that's how I finish off my cards. And then I like to make sure I get a good high quality picture of it. That way I can keep it on record if I sell the card. This card will be available on my Etsy store after this video goes live. So yeah, after like if this card sells, then I still have a good picture of it, and I can keep up with the work I'm doing for portfolio reasons or whatever. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Like I said, it's a longer video. It's more just me talking to the camera. But thanks for watching this. Again, if you're new from the reels I've been posting this week, making these, thank you. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for sticking around watching the long form videos, and I hope to see you again soon. I also have started working on a 100 subscriber special, so that's gonna be a fun one. I'll give you a little spoiler. I'm drawing 100 things for hitting 100 subscribers, and so I'm just gonna fill a sketchbook with 100 things, and it's gonna be fun. And I'll probably color my favorite ones. But yeah, so stay tuned for that. It might take a little bit because that's a lot of work. But I think it's gonna be fun to do, and I think it's gonna kind of help me just feel creative. I'm just gonna oh, there's my computer. I'm gonna draw a computer real fast. I'm gonna draw a lamp. Just quick doodles. Help me feel creative throughout the week. And yeah, so that's gonna be a fun video. Stay tuned for that. So yeah, if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. Go follow me on all my other socials. Like I said, I'm posting what I'm doing all the time. But yeah, thanks for sticking around, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.